Hi guys, welcome back TV Spoilers. Today I'm going to reveal Sally's outrage upon discovering Billy and Phyllis's dark secret. Sally confronts the harsh truth. Sally overhears Billy and Phyllis discussing in detail the drugging of Kane and the entire plot to seize Newman assets. The shock comes not only from Billy's betrayal, but also from the fact that he used her name in the Newman media deal without telling her the whole dark truth about how the deal was made. Sally had told herself that she understood the rules of the world she was choosing to stand in. Genoa City didn't reward purity. It rewarded timing, leverage, and the ability to swallow a little bitterness without letting it show on your face. She believed she had made peace with that long ago, back when she first learned how quickly a smile could turn into a weapon, how easily people used business as a polite mask for cruelty. And yet, nothing in her careful education prepared for the moment she overheard Billy and Phyllis speaking as if they were discussing the weather, trading details with a calm certainty that made the words feel even more poisonous. The shock didn't arrive all at once. It came in waves, each one heavier than the last, each one rewriting what she thought she knew about the man she'd been letting closer and closer to her heart. She wasn't meant to be there. That was the cruel part of it. The fact that fate didn't have to kick a door down. It just had to leave one slightly open, long enough for her to hear the truth from the mouths of the people who assumed she would never be in the hallway. At first, Sally's mind tried to protect her by misunderstanding what she heard. There was a reflexive, almost childish hope that she had misread the tone, that she had caught fragments of a larger conversation that might still make sense if she heard the beginning. But the longer she stood frozen in place, the more the pieces aligned in a picture so clear it made her feel nauseous. Billy and Phyllis weren't speculating. They weren't debating possibilities. They were recounting actions, specific deliberate actions, with the kind of ease that comes from believing you've already won. Kane's name landed in her chest like a stone. Not just because Sally knew the power of reputations in this town, not just because she understood what it meant to ruin someone's stability, but because the conversation wasn't about pushing Kane aside in a boardroom. It was about drugging him, taking away his agency, his awareness, his ability to defend himself. The word sedate wasn't spoken like a crime. It was spoken like a tactic. And Sally, who has survived enough manipulations to recognize the scent of something rotten, felt her entire body go cold. What broke her wasn't only the brutality of the plan. It was the intimacy of how they discussed it, as though they shared a private language that she didn't know she wasn't invited to learn. There was a closeness between Billy and Phyllis that Sally had tried not to interpret as threat. She told herself their history didn't have to define her present. She told herself she wasn't the insecure woman in someone else's love story, that she could keep her balance in a world where former flames always lingered like smoke. But hearing them now, hearing the seamless way they moved from Kane to Newman assets to how the pieces would fall into place, she realized that this wasn't just history. This was partnership. This was the kind of bond built not on romance, but on shared dirt, shared decisions that you can't easily confess to anyone else without bringing yourself down too. That kind of bond is stronger than affection. It's stronger than apologies. It's stronger than promises. So she began to prepare for the confrontation, not as a single moment, but as a turning point she would control. She imagined looking Billy in the eye and forcing him to face what he had done, forcing him to answer whether he had ever intended to tell her the truth. She imagined the satisfaction of watching him realize that the woman he thought he could manipulate had been listening, had been calculating, had been building a case. She imagined reclaiming her dignity not through tears, but through power. Yet beneath that vision, another thought haunted her. What if Billy didn't break? What if he didn't show remorse? What if he simply pivoted into defense, into anger, into blaming her for not understanding him? Sally knew that was possible. And it meant she had to be ready not just to confront, but to protect herself from the fallout that would come after. And just as she reached for her phone, ready to begin quietly documenting everything, it buzzed in her hand, one new notification lighting up the screen with a name that made her blood run colder than any betrayal ever could. Because it suggested she wasn't the only one who knew, and the game might already be moving faster than she planned.